Hi, I'm Alice and welcome back to Maths and Mindfulness. Today we're continuing our series on how to solve equations. We're on video 4 today, which is letters on both sides, part 2 of 4. We've got 4 lessons in this part of the series, and today we are on the second one, which is where we're going to look at some equations which involve subtraction. So today you will already need to know what was in my previous videos in this series, playlist on a card up there. And we'll also today be adding numbers onto a negative number. For example, -5 add 7. If you're not quite sure on your negative numbers, don't worry. I'd say this is still worth giving it a try today because I will be here to help you with every step. Now, this is not a quick how-to video. We're doing a full maths lesson today, so there'll be some teaching from me where I'll show you what to do. Then I will be encouraging you to try it out for yourself, doing some practice exercises, because the best learning is by doing, not just watching. And I encourage you to work at your own pace. If I'm going a bit slow for you, feel free to skip a few seconds. If I am going too fast, pause it, rewind, do what you need to do. And as soon as you're ready to join in, then you can start doing some of the maths yourself instead of just watching me doing it. So you should get a pen and paper if you have not got one already. And just remember, mistakes are part of the process. Perhaps you don't like making mistakes. I know I'm not very keen on it, but it's part of the learning process and it will help you to learn things better, in fact, if you make some mistakes. Now, if you're someone who experiences anxiety when you're doing maths and you'd like to get past that, you've found the right channel for you. I'll teach you some key maths methods to help you make progress with the subject. And at the same time, we'll be learning some psychology and mindfulness techniques to help you feel more confident and relaxed, which should make maths a lot easier for you and help you make even more progress. So today, a quick reminder about spaced practice, which we started learning about in the last video up there. Doing maths is like building muscles or learning a musical instrument, doing art or a set of dance steps even, in that if you want to keep that skill, then you need to practice it often. It's not like learning to read or riding a bike where once you know something, you always know it. Forgetting maths isn't your fault at all. It's just normal. It's actually much better to do a small amount of maths several times with a day or two in between than it is to do loads all at once. Then when you haven't done it for a while, you probably will have got a bit rusty, maybe forgotten it, and you'll need to go back and practice again. And that's why I'm making several short videos about this topic of letters on both sides equations instead of just one long one. So let's start our equations. So here we have a very similar equation to the ones we were looking at last time, with one small difference. We've got a -7 where we had all the numbers added before. What we will be doing is following the exact same set of steps that we have been following up until now, but you'll notice it says eliminate. It doesn't say add or subtract, it says eliminate, meaning we do the inverse to get rid of something. That's what that means. So do you remember the first step in these? If you are feeling super confident at this point, maybe you will pause the video and try and solve this yourself, or you can do it along with me or just watch. So the first step, eliminate the smaller amount of letters to give us a two-step equation. The smaller amount of letters in this one is 6D because 8D is bigger than that. So we subtract 6Ds and we're left with, on the left-hand side, we've got +3. So we don't write the plus, we just write 3 because it's a positive number. And then on the other side, you've got 8D, take away 6D, leaves us with only 2Ds. We also have the -7 because we were working with the letters in that step and numbers on their own didn't change. Now here's where we do the swap. The reason for that is because we have 3 equals 2D minus 7, and it's an optional step this, but I like to do it because I think it makes it easier. So we're going to swap everything over to the other side. So we have 2D minus 7 equals 3. If you're going to start moving things to the opposite side, you need to move everything to the opposite side, by the way. But as the equal sign just means these two things are the same as each other, then you can swap them over and they're still the same as each other. Anyway, next step, we need to eliminate the -7. So you can see this is step 2, eliminate the number on the other side. And to do that, where we've been taking away positive numbers, here we've got a negative number, so we just add it. You may remember this from our 2-step equations video. If you think you need more practice with 2-step equations, the video's up there. Add 7, and we have 2 D's. No 7, because that's why we did the add 7. 2 D's is the same as 3 add 7, 10. Finally, let's just divide by 2 on both sides to leave us on the left-hand side with D on its own, which means we will know what the value of D is, which is what we're doing here. Solving the equation, that's what that means. And on the right-hand side, we have got 10 divided by 2, which is 5. Done. Now, if you want to check that, we can check it. Do you remember what to do? Let's just check this first one, and then after that, we won't be checking because it will take us a bit of a long time. But you can obviously pause and check if you want to. So we had D equals 5, which means 6 5s is 30, isn't it? 30, add 3. That is 33, isn't it? Let's just write that up there. 8 5s is 40. Take away 7 is also 33. So you can see that these sides balance. We must be correct. We'll do another one in the same way with me going through each step with you. But if you are ready to go a bit faster and or do it on your own, then off you go and come back to me when you think you've got the answer. If you're doing it along with me, let's do it. So we've got 7E, take away 4 is the same as 1E. Remember, just a letter on its own, like E, means just one of them, plus 14. So first step, eliminate the smaller amount of letters, leaving us with a 2-step equation. So the smaller amount is 1E. So we take away 1E. Remember, we don't need to write a 1 when there's just one of them. So we just write take away E. That leaves us with 6 lots of E. Take away 4 is the same as plus 14. So remember, when it's a plus, we just write the number. There we have, hopefully something that's quite familiar to you by this point, a 2-step equation. Next step, let's get rid of this -4. And the way to get rid of that is do the inverse or the opposite, which is adding the 4. So there we go. Add 4 on both sides to keep it balanced, to keep those 2 sides being equal. And we get 6 lots of E, or 6E, is the same as 14 add 4, which is 18. Last step, do you remember what to do? See if you can do it on your own. Pause if you want. Divide by 6. Do that on both sides, of course, to keep those 2 sides being equal. And we get 1E is the same as 3. If you want, you can go back and check it at this point. But as I said, I'll be not checking them today just to save some time. So check in with yourself at this point. Are you ready to try this yourself if you haven't yet? Maybe you'd like to do the first step with me and then you think you'll be all right to do the next steps. Or maybe you're still at the stage where you'd like to work along with me. Whatever pace you're going at, it's your maths and it's fine. Do what you need. We've got a slightly different thing happening here because look, we've got a subtracted number on both sides. So this is where we're going to be adding on to a negative number, as I mentioned at the start of the video. Let's see what happens here. We'll be doing this a little bit quicker in my example. So we've got 5F is the smaller amount of letters because the other one is 6F. We take away 5F from both sides. And that gives us now, this is the bit that's a little bit different, look. Here. Remember before when it was add, we didn't need to put the add. When it's a minus number like this, we do need to keep the minus, because -4 or minus any number, to show us it's a minus number or a negative number, you have to put a minus next to it, don't you? A positive number doesn't need a sign next to it to tell you it's a positive number. So we've got -4 equals f take away 11. Now we'll do the swap at this point because it looks a bit weird, doesn't it, at the moment? So there we go, f take away 11 equals -4. And look, we've only got one f, so we don't need to do the division step. All we'll need to do now is add the 11. So we're adding 11 onto -4. And this will leave us with f equals 7, because -4 add 11 equals 7. If you need a bit of practice on your negative numbers to feel confident in this, then I'd suggest go away and practice your negative numbers. But if that's all that's stopping you from understanding this method at this point, then don't worry. It's just one more thing that you'll have to learn at some point. So did that seem a little bit different to you? It was actually just exactly the same steps, because these are flexible steps. So if you keep on applying those steps, you will be fine. Shall we do another one? Are you going to try the next one yourself? Go on, I dare you. Here we've got another which has got 2 subtracted numbers. We've got 9g's take away 6 equals 12 lots of g take away 9. These two things are the same. That's what the equal sign means. Let's see what happens. Are you trying this yourself? Pause it if you are. Or when you think that you can get to the answer, pause it as soon as you feel confident to do it on your own, if you'd like to do the last couple of steps or something. Anyway, here we go. The smaller amount of letters is 9g. We'll subtract it. And that's going to leave us with no g's on this side and just a -6. Remember, when it's a plus, you don't need the sign. When it's a minus, you do. So we have -6, because the 9g is gone, equals 3g, because that's 12 take away 9, take away 9, because the 9 didn't change, look. Unfortunately, they're all looking a bit back to front, so we'll swap everything over. And we have 3g minus 9 equals -6. So just the same as usual, we eliminate the number, which is along with the letters on the left side. And as it's a -9, we will add the 9. When we add 9 to the left-hand side, we're just only having 3g on its own, which was what we were going for. And on the right-hand side, we've got -6 add 9, which is 3. I will in future make a video about adding on to minus numbers, because I know a lot of people find that hard. And when I've made that video, I'll hopefully remember to put a card for it up here. Last step, we just need to do what we've always been doing, divide by the number of letters to give us one of the letter, which will be divided by 3. 3g's divided by 3 leaves us with 1g, or just g. And 3 divided by 3 is 1. We've solved it. I have 2 practice exercises for you now, covering the equations that we have been doing up until now, but just with different numbers in them. So we've got the first one where we've got 1 minus and 1 plus with the letters, and the second one will have both minus, just like we did in the lesson. So we'll be going through these a little bit quicker, but if you are finding that pace a little bit fast, remember you can always pause. I encourage you to try this yourself, even if you're not 100% confident, because we're just doing maths here. And even if you might feel a bit uncomfortable when you don't really 100% feel confident that you know all the steps, practice will make you make progress. And all that's happening is you're feeling a bit anxious. There's no real bad things happening. So let's give this a try. Pause it now and try and solve it, and then come back to me for the answer. So here we have 3h plus 5 equals 8h minus 40. First step, remove the smaller amount of letters, which is 3h. We subtract it. giving us 5 equals 5h minus 40. Looks a bit weird, so we reverse it and we get 5h minus 40 equals 5. To eliminate the minus 40, we add it because that's the opposite of subtract. We then have 5h's is the same as 45. Last step, divide both sides by 5, giving us h on its own equals 9. The solution is h equals 9. Next practice exercise coming up. Here, as I said, we have got two subtracted numbers. So when you add, you will be adding onto a negative number. Let's give it a try. Pause now if you are feeling confident and if you're not feeling confident, because remember, practice makes progress. And if you make some mistakes or struggle, it feels a bit uncomfortable, but nothing bad is really happening. Try and remember that. Right, here we go. Smaller amount of letters is 4m. Subtract it. This gives us minus 8 equals 2m minus 28. Remember, if it's a minus, we keep that sign there. Swap it because we want our letters on the left. So we've got 2m, subtract 28 equals minus 8. We want to eliminate that subtract 28. So we add it because that is the inverse or the opposite. And that gives us 2m is the same as 20. Last step, divide both sides by 2 to leave us with 1m on its own is the same as 10. And we've done. How did you get on? Do you need more practice? I'm sorry to say the answer is yes, even if you're quite good at this. So I suggest come back on another day, because remember, we're doing space practice, not doing too much at once, and have a go at the worksheet, which you will find linked to in the description. Well done for all your hard work today. Next time, we will be looking at what happens when the letters are subtracted. But hopefully you won't go straight onto that video because we're spacing out our practice and doing a little bit at a time. In the description, as always, there's a worksheet, there's more videos of mine to help you. And if you are struggling with your mental health and it's a bit more than just getting anxious when you do some maths, then please remember that there are people who want to help you, and there are links to services down below. And finally, thank you so much for supporting this channel if you've made it this far. And please consider liking the video, sharing the video, and subscribing to this channel for more maths and mindfulness. Goodbye.